Sia and Sean Paul with Cheap Thrills on the Radio 1 Breakfast Show at 8 o'clock on Thursday morning. News time. Here's Roisin Hasty with the latest.
The government's got a new strategy for energy.
Newsbeat.
The Prime Minister says he's got a plan that will eventually make our energy bills cheaper. He wants to boost the amount of energy made here in the UK and stop importing so much oil and gas from elsewhere. The government's been under pressure to do something since bills hit record highs this year. But some people think more could be done to help now. Rob Gross is an energy expert.
What I think it would have been good to have seen more of is a bit more action on things that could be done in the short term, particularly on energy efficiency for people in their homes, that could begin to make a difference, straight away.
Newsbeat. The US government's put financial restrictions on Vladimir Putin's two daughters. America says it's because the Russian president keeps some of his wealth in his family's bank accounts. It comes as Ukraine's warned people living in the east of its country to escape while they can. Russian troops are expected to begin attacking the area as the war there continues. The BBC's Emma Vardy is in Lviv in western Ukraine.
It's understood the goal of the Kremlin is to capture all of eastern Ukraine, called the Donbass region, and people are being warned by the Ukrainian officials today to get out while you still can, escape while it's still safe.
Paralympic athlete Ellie Simmonds has been investigating a new drug which could be rolled out in the UK to treat the most common form of dwarfism, which she has. Initially, she was opposed to the idea, but she's told Newsbeat that making a documentary about the drug has changed her view.
I think it's changed because I've learned lots about it, and it actually doesn't change us. We're always going to be identified as a dwarf and have those characteristics, but people make those decisions because it's the best decisions for them.
And Adele, Ed Sheeran and Dave have all been nominated for this year's Ivor Novello Awards, which celebrate British and Irish songwriting. Inflo, who's co-written for Adele and Little Sims, has the most nominations with 4. The award ceremony will be held in London next month. On to sport. Defending champions Chelsea have it all to do in the Champions League after a 3-1 quarter-final first leg loss to Real Madrid at Stamford Bridge. Karim Benzema scored a hat-trick for Madrid. Here's his boss, Carlo Ancelotti.
For sure, he helped a lot. He's always in the right position. We are really happy and lucky to have him.
Burnley got a vital 3-2 win over fellow strugglers Everton in their bid to remain in the Premier League. The Scotland and British Lions legend Tom Smiths died aged 50. He's seen as one of the greatest Scottish rugby players and was diagnosed with cancer in 2019. And as the Grand National Festival starts today, the winner of last year's race says it was something she dreamt of her whole life. Rachel Blackmore is the only female jockey ever to win it, and she says it still hasn't sunk in yet.
You never think you're actually going to get to win it, you know what I mean? Getting around in the Grand National, is a bit of an achievement in itself for sure. So to actually get to win it, it was just a phenomenal feeling.
This is Newsbeat. It's 3 minutes past 8.
This is
BBC.
Coming up at 3:30.
Going home with Vic and Jordan.
Can anyone get 12 correct answers?
And complete the year at 10:30.
Ricky, Melvin and Charlie.
It's Random Thursdays. But right now, it's Radio 1 Breakfast with Greg James.
Well, look who it is. Tom the Young Farmer.
Good morning.
Good morning. Are we in the cowshed?
We are. I am looking out to some in-calf cows.
Tom the Young Farmer is Radio 1's king listener, the most shouted out person, I think, in the history of Radio 1, and it's a pleasure to have you back on the show. We don't just have the one Tom today. In fact, I guess you could say, guys, it's double Tom situation. Tom the Young Trucker, good morning.
Hello, Greg. How are you?
No, I am well. I'm excited and I'm intrigued as well because there's been more mischief going on, which I don't know about. Now, famously, Tom, you tricked me many, many times. This is the Young Farmer. Tom the Young Farmer tricked me many, many times with different shout-outs, different identities. What have you both been up to recently?
Where do I start? Became sort of friends through the whole radio and all of that, and got to know Tom a bit, and he's sort of chasing me tail quite well on the shout-out front. So the pair of us decided to see who could get the most shout-outs as a random character. So throughout last week, we were under different names, undercover. Lurking in the darkness.
So this is, by the way, but before we get into this, it's great news that you've become friends through Radio 1. That's an amazing thing. What's at stake here then with this competition?
Well, I'd say the crown, really.
So you will bestow your title of King Listener onto Tom the Young Trucker.
Yeah,
Wow.
I think so.
We'll play some songs, we'll come back and find out the identities, find out the winner, and find out the rules of the game as well next.
Coming up.
Big morning. Big morning. Ed Sheeran and Bring Me the Horizon coming up. I will play that version this time as well, I forgot last time. Paul Wolford and Diplo. And now Charlie XCX and Rina Sawayama.
You know I go insane